for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires second mother. And she was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. In $5 trillion. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires second mother. And she was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. In $5 trillion.
I love businesses.
$1 billion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call
country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security during this debate, but
100 million people died. Has there been anything like it? We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things.
She's doing the Hillary
not
thing.
enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic.
She's doing the Hillary thing where she scowls at him and then she like
bounced back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax
He had lots of plans that he actually enacted that he did in 4 years. What has the last 4 years plan been to destroy the country?
For the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America.
Oh yeah, who are they?
What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy.
Goldman Sachs pays you.
What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually
Goldman Sachs owns Verizon.
16 Nobel
and owns Yahoo.
laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
That's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's like 4 sentences. Like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up.
They both said they both don't have a plan. That's great.
President brought up your tariffs, you responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices because of tariffs?
They're not going to have higher prices. What's going to have and who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions
See
of
how
dollars,
she just shakes her head?
hundreds of billions of dollars.
That's what Hillary did.
I had no inflation, virtually no inflation. They had the highest inflation
These are all
perhaps
fake
in the history
reactions.
of our country, because I've never seen a worse period of time. People can't go out and buy cereal or bacon or eggs or anything else. The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
Vice President Harris, I do want to ask for your response, and you heard what the president said there, because the Biden administration did keep a number of the Trump tariffs in place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is, under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on
You
investing
paid Iran millions of dollars, and they just attacked Israel with it.
in American-based technology.
That's what I would say
so
next.
that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to
Ooh, good shit there by Kamala, though, to bring up AI and quantum computing. That was actually pretty good of her.
support
A
America's
little bit behind here. I'll catch up, guys.
workforce,
Good point by Kamala.
so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. "Thank you, President Xi," exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all,
What?
we bought their
You're the
chips
ones that
from
lied about
Taiwan.
it?
We hardly make chips anymore because of philosophies like they have and policies like they have. I don't say her because she has no policy. Everything that she believed.
What is she talk? So wait a minute. We've all been saying that China lied about the virus and all these other things, and people like Kamala, Joe Biden, told Facebook to ban us because of that stuff. But now Kamala is saying that that's Trump's fault. Holy shit! These people are fucking whacked. That's a crazy fucking thing to say when Biden and her were trying to get us all banned for blaming China. Holy shit, they called you racist for it. Now it's Trump's fault and like they agree? What? Bro, I've never seen this type of insane.
3 years ago, and
I'm not sure what's true about those chips, by the way. I bet Trump did sell chips to make money, but maybe. I don't know. I don't really know. You really can't tell who's lying about that, and I don't know, so.
Years ago is out the window. She's going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat. She's gone to my philosophy. But
yeah, that's true.
if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will be the end of our country.
That's funny.
She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. Her father's a Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people,
Look at her
that are
fake
pouring into our
reaction. Look at
country
this
monthly,
fake thing she's
where
doing.
It's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are
So
criminals.
weird.
And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration.
I think it's brilliant of the Democrats to just basically try to copy Trump, by the way. Because, like, what do you do with that? Like, oh, yeah, well, we're doing all that, too. Like what? You know what I mean? That's some crazy shit.
Is the worst thing
That's
that
kind of brilliant by the Democrats. Look at her fucking face.
can happen to our economy.
Trump does this thing where he raises his eyebrows up, where he's like, "Yep, that's me. Yep, I did that."
They
weird.
have, and she has destroyed our country with policy that's insane. Almost policy that you'd say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue of abortion. President Trump, you've often touted that you were able to kill Roe v. Wade. Last year, you said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights.
I was going to take a point away from both of them, but I'm not going to now because that would just make them even. So I'll just leave them at 2-1. And we gotta compare the Biden versus Trump points next. These are just my scores, guys. You might totally disagree with me. It's okay.
In your home state of Florida, you surprised many with regard to your 6-week abortion ban because you initially had said that it was too short. And you said, quote, I'm going to be voting that we need more than 6 weeks. But then the very next day, you reversed course and said you would.
I'm going to speed it up so we can try to catch up.
Vice President Harris says that women shouldn't trust you on the issue of abortion because you've changed your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust you?
Well, the reason I'm doing that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, who's doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the genius and heart and strength of 6 Supreme Court justices, we were able to do that. Now, I believe in the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions. Very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country apart for 52 years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. Now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime, a violation to their body, does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral. And one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government, and Donald Trump certainly, should not be telling a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk about this is what people wanted? Pregnant women who want to carry a pregnancy to term, suffering from a miscarriage, being denied care in an emergency room because the healthcare providers are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot? She didn't want that. Her husband didn't want that. A 12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term? They don't want that. And I pledge to you, when Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies.
He doesn't have a Project 2025, so that's a lie. And he's also already said that he won't sign a national abortion ban, so she's just lying. But she was winning until she said that.
Your miscarriages. I think the American people believe that certain freedoms, in particular the freedom to make decisions about one's own body, should not be made by the government.
Thank you, Vice President Harris.
Well, there she goes again. It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban, because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter, because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if it
Well, I won't have to, because again, 2 things. Number one, she said she'll go back to Congress. She'll never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get the vote, especially now with the 50-50, essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's just talk. You know what it reminds me of? When they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe. The student loans, and then I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea. And how unfair that would have been, part of the reason they lost, to the millions and millions of people that had to pay off their student loans. They didn't get it for free. But they were saying it's the same way that they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes or no, because your running mate, J.D. Vance, has said that you would veto it if it did come to your desk.
Well, I didn't discuss it with J.D. In all fairness, J.D. And I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think he was speaking for me. But I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come close to getting student loans. They taunted young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. Well, wonderful. Let's go to Congress, do it. But the fact is that for years they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government, and we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as you rightly mentioned, nowhere in America
Trump should say, so you support murder. Okay. That'd be funny.
is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion. That is not happening. It's insulting to the women of America. And understand what has been happening under Donald Trump's abortion bans. Couples
It's only sped up so we can catch up, guys. Soon it won't be sped up anymore.
who pray and dream of having a family are being denied IVF treatments.
I've been a leader on fertilization, IVF. And the other thing, you should ask, will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask me that question?
Why don't you answer
That's
the question?
problem.
Would you
because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer the
Wade,
question, would you veto?
you could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's not
month,
true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security. We know it's an issue that's important to Republicans, Democrats, voters across the board in this country.
This guy sounds like Weird Al Yankovic.
President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration. This past June, President Biden imposed tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations for the trafficking of guns, drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States
And you've done more to bring them into the country than anybody else. So that's kind of weird.
Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill, which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something, he's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when
I think they both did this. It's so weird that she brought this up because they both ran on a problem. I think Trump wanted to stop it so he could fix it. And I think she wanted to suddenly fix it before she got, to show that they did something before the election. So it's kind of funny that they're both like doing like the same thing. So I really won't take a point away or give a point to either one here because I think they both did the same type of tactic.
it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, why did you try to kill that bill and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond to the rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's busing them in and paying them to be there. And
This is really stupid of both of them.
then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my
There
rallies.
she goes again with her little fucking. She's just such a cunt, bro. I mean,
The biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago.
See,
And
she's got
what's
the same set that she goes through of reaction. None of these reactions are real that she's making. So weird. Trump gets uncomfortable. He raises his eyebrows like, yeah, I did that. But she does this same robot of, It's like the same thing every time. It's very, like, I sort of study body language, and like hers is fake. Trump's is sometimes awkward, but hers is fake.
going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as rallies are concerned, as far as the reason they go is they like what I say. They want to bring our country back. They want to make America great again. It's a very simple phrase, make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is
the people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
television. But the people on television saying their dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
You talk about extreme. This is, I think, one of the reasons why in this election I actually have.
See, she just laughs and doesn't believe anything. Like, that's the problem. Trump kind of believes all the bad stuff that's happening, and she doesn't believe any of it. That's the problem here. She's like, that's not happening. But Trump also made a mistake. He shouldn't have talked about the eating thing yet unless he had full proof. Instead, what he should have said is he should have talked about the rapings and killings that we do know about for sure, and the statistics of that. It's kind of made a mistake there, bringing up the new sort of pet eating thing that's going on, which will probably be proven true, but right now they're saying it's not true. I don't know what's going on with that. So, but he should have just brought up raping and killing children.
Of the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general.
Trump is not faring as well here because he's falling into the trap of what Kamala wants to make him kind of look crazy instead of her. You know what I mean? It's kind of working for her right now.
Has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the Republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to this kind of rhetoric, when the issues that affect the American people are not being addressed, I think the choice is clear in this election.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond.
Thank you, because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people. Not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people who were just killed.
Yes. See, Trump goes through people, and if they suck, they're bad, or they're not good enough, he throws them away and then grabs a new pair, and then ones that suck there, he throws them away and grabs a new. He's like a filtering system, so I will give him that credit of, like, he's pretty good at filtering out shit. You know what I mean?
Viciously and violently killed, and I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper. He was no good. I fired him. So he writes a book. Another one writes a book, because with me they can write books. With nobody else can they. But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy. Look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists. They have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president.
That's a good way not to have books written by you. About you. Don't fire him. Oh my God, that is really funny.
Sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier, so let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has reacted to as well. President Trump, you call this the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. You say you would use the National Guard. You say things get out of control. You have no problem using the U.S. military. You also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I know you believe that number is much higher. Take us through this. What does this look like? Will authorities be going door to door in this country?
Yeah. It is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals, many millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country, and they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed the fabric of our country. Millions of people let in. And all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof. Despite their fraudulent statements that they made, crime in this country is through the roof. And we have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. And it's happening at levels that nobody thought possible.
President Trump, as you know, the FBI says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But
excuse me, the FBI they were defrauding statements. They didn't include the worst cities. They didn't include the cities with the worst crime. It was a fraud. Just like their number of 818,000 jobs that they said they created turned out to be a fraud.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you respond, Vice President Harris.
Well, I think this is so rich coming from someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes, economic crimes, election interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear, where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric.
IRS agents.
And address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted with this same old tired playbook.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
Excuse me. Every one of those cases was started by them against their political opponent. And I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them. But those are cases, it's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was
It's happened throughout history, though. We know that.
involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Fani Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Everyone.
There she goes. She's doing the pattern again. Watch Kamala Harris. Here it comes, guys. Here comes the pattern. The look, the stare, then the look up, and now she's getting ready to put her hand on her chin.
One of those cases, and then they say, oh,
If she can hold it back, let's see if she holds back the hand on chin.
he's a criminal. They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found
These are all fake stares by her, by the way.
essentially guilty on the document.
I am brilliant at reading people's body language. Her body language is a lie. I you know what I mean? It's so weird.
Case. Now, what happened in my
I think she's doing good, though. I think she's actually doing really pretty good in this debate. But her body language when he's talking is a lie.
documents case? They said, oh, that's the toughest of them all. A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They use it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
President Trump, thank you.
She is doing a great job right now of churning up Trump. He's actually falling into the trap. I would have said to him before he went out here, they're going to pretend like nothing's wrong and you're crazy. Don't make that come true. Be very presidential, almost like you are the president, and speak as if you're the father of the country, and how what you're gonna do to the American people, and focus only on the American people. Don't focus on her or reacting to her or them or they. Just talk about what you're gonna do for them is what I would have said to Trump. You really need to come through and talk to the people about all the things you'll do for them because you did it before and they obviously haven't done it, but don't worry, Daddy's here. That's what he needed to do. And if I was working with Trump, I would have got him to go a different route. And I would have said, just ignore all the lies they're going to say about you. Quickly say, yes, more lies, that's fine. Here's the bottom line. People don't care about the lies they tell about me or the corruption they do to me, all because it's all about what I'm going to do for American people. Here's the thing. But he's falling into this trap, and he's actually getting lit a bit, which is great for Kamala or whatever her fake ass is, because she's saying all the right things as a liar, because people that are really good at lying know how to do this, and she certainly does. So, as much as... So he's just falling... He's actually kind of falling into the trap here a little bit. So this is actually really good for the Democrats and for Kamala right now, because he's getting wound up a bit instead of just getting into what he can do and what he will do. He's being reactionary to her, and that's been since the beginning of this. And so he's making a huge mistake, even though she's... they both have said things that aren't fully true, and they've both said some things that are true. That's why I'm kind of leaving them at 2-2 right now. I really don't know. She's lying. He's lied a few times, and she stretched truth. He stretched truth. He's said a couple of weird things. She's clearly lying and fake. It's hard to figure out this right now, to be honest.
Response to your Vice President Harris on this notion of weaponization of the Justice Department.
Well, let's talk about extreme and understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently...
This is like in The Cable Guy, the crazy murderous villain guy is seen as the good guy, but he's so good at faking it that the friend who's a good person really becomes crazy, and then everybody thinks he's nuts and thinks the crazy guy's the good person. It's like she's doing that right now so well. Do you know what I mean? But Donald Trump's also giving you the worst of him at this point as well.
ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the
He's never said that, so she's lying about that.
Department of Justice against his political enemies. Someone who has openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand what it would mean if Donald Trump were
I mean, she's kind of right. Again, this is like a half-truth.
back in the White House with no guardrails, because certainly we know now the court won't stop him. We know J.D. Vance is
Yeah,
not
they said he was going to do all this stuff the first 4 years. They're really scared of the next 4 years now.
going to stop him. It's up to the American people
Vice
to stop
President Harris,
him.
thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. They talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a fake Russia investigation that went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
He's reacting again. See, this is really bad. This is so bad, guys. This is really bad right now. Because with him, he's on the defensive on everything. And look at this cunt's fucking smug fucking face. Look at her. He's on the defensive right now. He is in trouble right now. This is like a boxing match, and he's been punched 8 times now, and he's trying to react to it. This is not good. Kamala is smiling right now like a fucking... Dude, let me tell you something. Trump might be a self-absorbed kind of weirdo in a way, and he's got some things I don't like. There's no doubt about it, but make no mistake about it. She is a lying shill, and right now he's playing right into their hand. This is actually brilliant by the left. This is the most brilliant shit by the left ever. I'm going to give Kamala a point. I'm going to give her a point because for basically having him on the rails right now.
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss at least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020. I will not ban fracking. I have not banned fracking as Vice President of the United States. And in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we have got to invest in diverse sources of energy so we reduce our reliance on foreign oil. We have had the largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes that we cannot over-rely on foreign oil. As it relates to my values, let me tell you, I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a hardworking mother who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager. The values I bring to the importance of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting women and children from violent crime is based on a value that is deeply grounded in the importance of standing up for those who are most vulnerable. My work...
She's such a liar, but this is so great. She's tying in personal story to fact of what she's done, even though she used to say something else and lied about it and basically said that she changed her mind on it. But she's turning a positive into like, oh, look, I learned that I was wrong. And then when I had to make the call, I made the right call. And, I think that ties back into my family and childhood. This is fucking brilliant.
Work that is about protecting Social Security and Medicare is based on long-standing work that I have done, protecting seniors from scams. My values have not changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values.
Kamala is destroying what Joe Biden did. Kamala Harris is destroying what Joe Biden did.
And a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down. And name-calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump,
well, first of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him. But I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking?
What Trump should have said there is, listen, I inherited a small amount of that money, and I turned it into everything I've done in my life. I've started from nothing, built up. I've started from negative and built up. I've started from middle areas and built up. I took over the White House. I'm great at inheriting problems and turning them into solutions. And I believe that's why I had a successful first 4 years in the White House. And that's why I believe I'll have a successful second run and then gone on to whatever he's about to say right here. See, I just came up with a great thing. If only Trump would say this.
She's been against it for 12 years.
Now he's talking about her again.
the police. She's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of.
She did do that.
Now she wants to do transgender
She just said it's not true. It's not. It is true. She did that.
operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish one thing, so important in my opinion.
That's not true either. Just like Kamala said on day one, he would ban nationally abortion. He won't do that. He said he wouldn't do that. He has never said he would do that. He's not going to do that. Why did Kamala say that? Well, why is he now saying that she will ban fracking on day one when she just said she wouldn't do it? So the both of them are now saying the other one will do this on day one, even though the other one said absolutely they won't do it. They're on record multiple times on podiums on national TV right now saying they won't do that. So I believe there's almost no way they would do that, but they've both said each other is going to do that. So they're both lying about each other there. I don't know why they're doing that, but they have both done it now. And again, Trump is on the defensive, saying the same things he always says about her. And the things that I know about her, I know it about her, and you know it about her most likely. But this debate needed to be about the people at home, and right now, if Trump had an earpiece, I would be like, stop focusing on how evil they are and how they're lying about you. Stop that and just move. Oh my God, this is going bad for Trump. This is not good. I'm shocked. I'm actually kind of shocked. When she shook his hand at the beginning of this debate, did it have some crack on it or something? He was so much calmer and the father of the country against Joe Biden. He was like, I'm the father of the country. I will solve the problems. Joe, you don't even look fit, Joe. I will solve all the problems. It was very nice, very good by Trump. This is the opposite. This is bad.
So I got the oil business going like nobody has ever done before. When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead. We'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar. But they take 400, 500 acres of desert soil.
Trump,
These are not good things for the environment, as you understand.
Solar's actually pretty good. And you can have whole fields of solar. Elon Musk knows about this, about how solar can help. Windmills are another story. And Trump just said he's a big solar fan, but then crapped on the solar. Oh my God, he looks really bad right now. I know that she's fake, but he looks really bad. This looks really bad. He is literally unraveling. And if I was able to come on here before the debate started, I would have told you guys that would be my worry about this. Holy fuck, bro. He has a problem with women because his mother treated him like shit, and maybe that's why he's thrown off or something and he's flipping out. She doesn't even have to do anything. He's doing this to himself by just her. It's like if somebody murdered your mother and you knew they murdered your mother, but everybody else thought that that person was a sweetheart and nobody else knew about it or really believed you, but you know that they murdered your mother and you had a debate with them, and so you're snapping and losing your mind, and other people are like, wow, this guy's crazy. That's what this is. That's what this is. I know that she is a deep state fucking plant fake piece of shit fuck, but he's coming off like a maniac. Wow. This is not good. If you're a Trump fan, this is not good.
Thank you.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And
Wow.
I want to talk about the peaceful
This
transfer
is
of power,
real
which, of course, we
bad.
all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out of the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack.
The bottom line is I'll vote. I would vote the other way just because my life sucks now. My life is a piece of shit now, and it was a little bit of a shit before Trump got in too, and now it's shit again. So I would vote. I wouldn't change my vote regardless of what this debate is. But there's a lot of people out there that will, and he's losing. Trump is losing this right now.
Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in?
I actually can't believe that a bunch of people weren't shot, to be honest. I think it's amazing that only one person was shot when they were breaking into the Capitol, to be honest. But it's true.
She was the voter czar, remember that.
I think one cop died of a heart attack or something unrelated, right? That was really it, though.
She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, "Oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet." That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America? They're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world, and crime rates are down all over the world because of it. But when are those, David? When are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle, they went into Seattle, they took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask
You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election.
They asked him a question, and he's deflecting it over to Kamala Harris. I mean, they are ganging up on him now, so now it's going to be a problem, but he is now deflecting over to her in a really defensive way. If you're a debater or you're a child or you're in college or whatever, this debate right here should be studied. This is actually amazing.
Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes,
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor...
Hey, Kevin, let's talk about what your comments are in the chat really quickly. This is politics, Joe, not selling windows and roofing to old ladies. Stick to what you know. Kevin, what the fuck are you talking about? What am I saying that's not true? We're going to stop the debate until you can tell me what you're talking about. What am I saying that's not true? What exactly am I saying that's not true? Why isn't Trump talking about how bad everything actually is right now and how he can solve it? Why is he attacking Kamala on all these goofy things that we already know about? You know what I mean? He should really be focusing on how to fix stuff. Kevin, what am I saying that's wrong? Please tell me what I'm saying that's wrong. What are you disagreeing with me on? What are we disagreeing with me on, Kevin? You're literally a member. I can see all your comments. What am I saying that you disagree with? I'm trying to figure out what your comments mean. Joe, stick to being a Dem like you've always been, truthfully. Your wife wants it. What does that mean? This is politics, Joe, not selling windows. Well, what are we talking about? What are you talking about? What policies, what am I saying that you don't like? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? Trying to figure out what we're talking about. Kevin, what do you disagree with me on? I don't even know what I've said. I've really not said much. I'm just kind of breaking down these two people who are debating each other. It's not really about Trump or Kamala and like what I'm going to do and how I'm going to vote. I'm looking at this as a debate by itself, just like I kind of looked at Joe Biden versus Trump. Trump crushed Joe Biden. Trump is now losing to Kamala Harris. So are you not going to answer? Are you not going to tell me why you said that? Yeah, you're never going to get Haskell to listen to anything. He's far left. He doesn't give a shit. I don't care. I love Haskell anyway, but he's never going to listen. He's a far left person. He doesn't give a shit. He does not give a shit. Unlike me, I'll change my mind. I don't think Haskell will change. I don't care about. I get what Haskell's saying. I don't agree with him, but whatever. But I mean, you know what I mean? That's basically it, Star Sale. I don't agree with Trump on a lot of stuff, but he made my life better and cheaper. That's basically how I feel. At this point, that's how I feel. We need someone with, that's the reason. But why, where is, you know what I mean? Where is, Kevin, what have I said that you don't like? I mean, are you gone now, Kevin? I mean, did you disappear? I guess, Kevin, so you have nothing to say. So you just write fucking retarded fucking shit all the time in the comment section, and then you don't back it up. So you just write fucking horse shit every fucking time in the comment section and never back it up. Because this is not the first time that I've seen your comments that fucking suck dick, okay? Your comments, Kevin, suck dick. And then you don't back it up. You fucking moron idiot. I'm going to ban Kevin. I don't usually ban people, but this is not the first time I've seen his bullshit. And he always writes some kind of fucked up retard thing. So I'm going to put him on a timeout for a week, since he wouldn't answer what the fuck the problem was. If you can't tell me what the fuck the problem is, and you just say stupid shit like that, then you can fucking kill yourself. You know what I mean? Come up with a real fucking thing that you want to say to me, and fucking explain it. Do you know what I mean? Come up with a real fucking thing and explain it. You fucking pussy. Like, Haskell 420, you might not like what Haskell is saying. I don't agree with everything Haskell is saying. I think some of what Haskell is saying is true, and I think some of it is worth listening to, and some of it's true, and I think some of it's not. I think some of it's not true. I think some of what Haskell says is bullshit, and I think of some of what he says is true. And I also think some of what he says is worth me investigating to find out if it's true versus what I think. That's what I think about Haskell 420 in the chat. But the difference is Kevin is just saying stupid shit. Like, oh, stick to fucking wrestling, you retard. Oh, yeah? Well, why? What don't you like? What am I saying that you don't agree with? You love Trump, so you're mad that I'm saying Kamala's winning? Like, I'm not happy about that. I'm not happy about that. I'm just telling you what I see. I'm going to tell it like it is to me. I'm going to tell you regardless what I think. You know what I mean? So, I don't care if you don't agree with me, but tell me what it is. Don't just say, you're stupid. Well, okay, why? Tell me. Then I can decide if you might be right or not. Like Haskell.
of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was
By
about
the way, I win, Kevin, because you just cowered it out. So we know that you were full of shit, is what you were.
you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi. But I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
Also, Garguts has said his real name on the show several times, so whoever's doing that is really retarded. You're actually wasting your time.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the president...
When she talked about breaking the tying vote earlier, Trump should have talked about all the tying votes that she broke that were terrible, because she's broken 2 tying votes that were terrible, and Trump should have brought that up, and he didn't after she said, I was the tying vote for this other thing. He should have said, yeah, you were also the tying vote for this and that, and look at what that's gone to. So, I guess 2 out of 1's all right.
The President of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died. And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
She lied. That's a lie. That is a well-known lie. Why? She's doing this on purpose. She's doing it on purpose to make him crazy. That's a lie. All the liberals agree that's a lie. I know that's a lie. You should know that's a lie. She's lying. Biden lied too. It's been proven by everybody, but she's doing it again. She's lying. It's to make him crazy.
Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was,
the Proud Boys are a group that started on a radio show as a joke, who were responding to Antifa. So now Trump should say, well, let's remember why the Proud Boys started. They were a comedy group on a radio show, and they turned into like a fraternity of multiracial people, by the way, not just white people. And they saw Antifa violently attacking people because they're Marxists. And, they were the response to that. Now, I don't get involved in Antifa and Proud Boys. They are whatever. And so I wanted them to stand back and stand by, and that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean I'm for them or against them. And on Charlottesville, that was a lie. But again, I wouldn't even get into that if I was Trump, but Trump's now too deep. Now he's too deep. He's defending everything now. She is fucking Floyd Money Mayweather right now on his ass. Because she's already won some legitimate things. Now she's just she can say anything because he's on the defensive. This is should be studied. What's going on right now? This is like when Trump beat the shit out of Jeb Bush almost. This is crazy. I'm fucking surprised. I cannot believe that Trump fell for this. This is crazy to me.
I say we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place.
Well, it's time to turn the page, but you're bringing up all the old shit. She says it's time to turn the page, but she just keeps repeating rhetoric that Joe Biden said during our debate when he was terrible, because she says that I don't care about the country, but really she's just focused on me. They're focused on putting me in jail. But again, that's all just focusing it on him again. It's like he can't get out of this. What is he going to say? I mean, if I was him at this point, I would completely ignore everything she said about me, and I would talk about how I'm going to fix the country. I mean, he's got to get out of this. He's got to stop. Everything is reacting. We got to get out of this. Get the fuck out of this. This is so set up. It's unbelievable, and he can't get out of it.
In our campaign for you, to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back.
She's got a point.
Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
Everything you just said was the past.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed
Now he's on the defensive. Here we go. He's got to react to what she said about him.
our energy business. That
And
was
now she's going to do her fake look. Here comes the fake looks, guys. Here comes the fake stares. like she's such a cunt. She just fucking, oh my God, bro. She's going to do her fake stares and her looks again. Here it comes. Ready?
Beth was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this. You talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be very proud to do it. I would say we would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate, because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border, because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed, you'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll say, come on down to the office, let's sign a bill. If he signs a bill that the border is closed, all he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed. Those people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you, because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge it at all.
But
I said that sarcastically, you know that. It was said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016, you can't be beaten. The election, people should never be thinking about an election as fraudulent. We need two things. We need walls, and we have to have it. We have to have borders, and we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote. And that's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker, we didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No judge looked at it.
And
They said we didn't have standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The President of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you'll do a special on it. I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you, we have so many facts and statistics. But you know what? That doesn't matter, because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline.
Thank you, God.
We have a nation that is dying, David.
Thank you, God, for turning the corner right there. Oh, my Christ.
President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker, so he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us, we won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we...
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Is Kamala becoming Trump, bro? Oh, my God. Clearly, he's having a very difficult problem. Oh, my God.
And then he lists donors, voters, election officials. He says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us, we won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free...
And then she looked at him like she was concerned about him. Oh, my God. And clearly he's having a really hard time processing that. Oh, my God. Bro, she has got to be studied for this. I watched her debate against Tulsi Gabbard in 2016. She lied about Tulsi Gabbard several times. And Tulsi Gabbard destroyed her. She looked like shit in the 2016 debate with Tulsi Gabbard. If Tulsi Gabbard was on this stage, I think Tulsi Gabbard could take her down. This is not good for Trump. Holy shit. I'm giving Kamala, I can't even believe this is real right now. I'm giving Kamala another point.
And fair election.
Wow.
I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States. And
I'll tell you what, bro. Trump has RFK, but she's got a victory on the way if this continues like this. This is unfucking believable.
Leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom work with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And
she is lying. Ghost, she's lying about a lot of things, but it's like he's not looking good right now. I'm talking especially in a debate forum, like, this is not good.
When you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most
That's a great point. Let's see what Trump does with it. He is on the defensive completely. Notice everything that he says about her. She just kind of like laughs and then goes back to like what she will do and then goes back to like an attack on her, but there's no reaction to the response. She's not reacting really at all. I can't believe this is happening.
most respected men. They call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president. But when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her, she got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time
I
is
think
up.
we're going to do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization,
I am concerned.
slaughtered 1,200 Israelis, many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that.
Well, you're not doing it now. I'll tell you that.
Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for two.
She's not doing it now. They're not doing it now. There's dead Americans. There's Americans still hostages. So Trump better have a great answer to this because this is a layup right now. This is a layup.
State solution. And in that
He needs to slam dunk this right now.
solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel and an equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, and far worse than...
Please don't talk about how it wouldn't have happened and talk about what you'll do now. Oh my God! Talk about how she's not doing anything now.
People understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there
There you go.
because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president,
Why
I
is she shaking her head? She literally did that.
believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no
They gave them millions of dollars. Say that, please.
money for
say
Hamas
that.
or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror.
Joe Biden gave them the money they used to attack Israel. Why doesn't he just say that?
Horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation. And now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis. And
He forgot to say because they gave them the money. He's forgetting to say that. Say they gave them the money. How much money did you give Iran? What was it? Do you guys know? Make the fucking moderators answer.
Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended if I'm president.
Killer of demons, trust me, I know Kamala Harris is a lying cunt. Don't worry, bro. I know it. I'm just focusing on this debate right now. I know she's a liar. I get it. I'm just focusing on this debate, what I'm seeing.
President-elect. I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
I'll get it done before becoming president. I don't know how that's possible.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from
Then
the reality.
why didn't she show up at the thing then?
Which is, it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un. And it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting.
He also said that Kim Jong-un was a rocket man or whatever, and then he would blow him up if he fucked with him. And then he was like, no, let's talk. So I don't really know.
For you to be president again, because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who
Oh my God, Trump is going to explode. Trump is going to lose it, dude. She is really like raping into him. Holy Christ.
is not consistently weak and wrong
This
on
is
national
crazy.
security, including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it, because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way, gets paid a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center. Right
Maybe we can catch up now since there's a commercial. Oh, shit, there's not a big commercial. Wow. This is unbelievable. Someone's got to get to Trump and tell him to stop.
You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I will. If there's any donations at all, I will play them in a few minutes. We're having some fun.
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being uselessly, people being killed.
That was so nice of the moderators to go back to that, because he didn't answer this last time. He talked about the past. And so the moderator just did him a favor, to be honest, by bringing it back to this, because he did not get to answer that the right way.
By the millions, it's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more, because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less, because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe, like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect your president. Okay, they respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin. Hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left, I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's... Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
they threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president? But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
Your time is up. With the
Oh my God, we have a president that doesn't know if he's alive. Yo, we have got to get that sound clip. I can't really give Trump, like, that's not against Kamala. That's something he's saying about Biden. When he talks about Biden, he wins immediately. Like, that's just too funny. Like, we have a president they threw him out like a dog, and he doesn't even know if he's alive. This is so bad right now. This is not Jesus Christ.
Just to clarify the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
right,
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives.
The bottom line is right now, there are millions of migrants coming into the country because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris told them to come into the country. Then when they started overflowing in, they said, don't come. Then Biden was like, she's in charge of the border. Then she never went to the border. Then the news called her out for not going to the border. Like, the people flowing into the country are Biden and Kamala's fault. That's a fact, right? The economy is shit. Small business is fucked. And so much else is bad and going on. And but somehow he's losing in this debate. Like, I don't know how you could be losing in this debate, because like this couldn't be any worse than it's ever been right now. But he's losing this debate right now somehow, in my opinion. I'm gonna vote for him probably, but he's losing this debate like a lot. This doesn't look good. I'm an independent and moderate person. I can tell you it doesn't look good. Maybe it looks good to you. Maybe it doesn't look good to you. But I can tell you as a middle of the road swingy pants that I am, that it don't look good. If I didn't know all the truths of what's going on, you know, I would be like, wow, you know, wow. Like, why would I vote for Kamala Harris, who's been destroying the country the last 4 years? What, because Trump's a baby? So because Trump's a baby sometimes I'm supposed to, you know what I'm saying? But like, he's getting what is going on here? This is mind-blowing.
From being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you...
I don't know if he's fear-mongering. He's literally reality telling is what he's doing. He's actually talking about the reality of what's going on right now, and I don't know how that, if that's fear-mongering, but the fear-mongering is where he says it's going to be World War III, it's going to be that sort of thing. I guess you could consider that, but that's what they did. They said he would start World War III, but he was the most peaceful president in my lifetime. Donald Trump was the most peaceful president in my lifetime. That is a fact. 100% fact. Donald Trump was the most peaceful president in my lifetime, but he said that they told me that he was going to start World War III. So, like, when he says that they might start World War III, and we've already escalated into some of those wars right now, I mean, like, there is a little bit of believability to that, where it's not fully fear-mongering, but it is a little bit. It's like a little bit of fear-mongering, but it's like kind of based on some truth. Whereas them talking about him starting World War III really wasn't based on any truth, because he'd never been an official before and in politics, and then he was the most peaceful president. I mean, locally we had some civil unrest, some of the most civil unrest, kind of in a while. I mean, with Obama, we had a lot of civil unrest too, though. So, you could say locally there was more civil unrest maybe, but world-wise and military-wise and war-wise, Donald Trump was the most peaceful president in my lifetime. I mean, there's no way to argue that.
You deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind former president, you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up. And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is the importance of sovereignty and territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that
You shared with a non-NATO member our intelligence? Why would you share our intelligence with a non-NATO member?
Others did. We brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense. And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery, the javelins, the Abrams tanks that we have provided, Ukraine stands as an independent and free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine. understand why the European allies and our NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians to fight for their independence. Otherwise, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on the rest of Europe, starting with Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on
He
Ukraine
would
tonight.
eat you for
Afghanistan came up
lunch.
in the last hour.
Is he Haitian? That's what I meant. Trump should have been like, wait, is he Haitian? I thought he was white.
I wanted her to respond to something you said earlier, and please, I'll give you a minute here.
God damn, she is railing. Now the moderators are going to jump in and throw something else out, I feel like, but let's see.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow. Quiet, please. He would have been sitting in
Quiet, please.
Moscow, much happier than he is
Please don't say you're a nasty woman. Don't do that.
right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about it. But just so you understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started. 3 days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong thing. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin, and she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the kind of talent we have with her. She's worse than Biden. In my opinion, I think he's the worst president in the history of our country. She goes down as the worst vice president in the history of our country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate. As soon as they left, Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever...
He might be right about that. She's been a good debater so far in this debate, but the reality is the fact, and what she did was not very good. But also, you know, you could agree with her on the supporting Ukraine part, I guess. So you could agree with that. So it's kind of like agree with her a little bit and then agree with him. But it's hard to say.
Ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fellow. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is commander-in-chief, and the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of personal flattery.
You talked about Ukraine and Vladimir Putin. I do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of this debate. I wanted to move on to Afghanistan.
Stoltenberg said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. Otherwise, we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate. And
he's like shouting his accomplishments, which I get because he really did do these great things. Like Donald Trump, even if you hate Trump, I mean, he really did do some of these great things. And some of these things Kamala is talking about are things that they have really done that, you know what I mean, are arguably good. So it's like, but it's the way that he talks about his accomplishment versus how she's speaking about her accomplishment. One is coming off better than the other, if that makes any sense.
And we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this. And the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not, again, appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be Commander-in-Chief with a level of respect. And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So, if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban.
This is so brilliant. Oh my God, dude, this is so brilliant of Kamala. She nails all these things about him, and then the moderators are tricking him into letting him respond to everything. And Trump thinks he's winning because he goes, I mean, excuse me, and they're like, yes, Mr. Trump, you go respond to that. Oh my God, bro, this is fucking crazy. So if I was Trump, I would say, I want you to ask the question, but real quick, when I work with friends and foes alike to try to bring people together, I don't think it's a bad thing to turn our enemies into our allies and to become friends with the world, because we are the world and we should all be friends. And if we can convert enemies into friends and change minds, I will do that. Why, when I try to unite people, am I attacked just like many people like John Lennon, Jesus, JFK were killed for wanting people to come together? They persecute me for it because they love war so much. And on top of that, you know, trying to unite people is a problem. But when you fund Iran like Joe Biden did, and then Iran attacks Israel in a horrific manner, you know, that's okay, though. So it's very strange that having conversations with people to change minds is bad, but funding our enemies who destroy our friends is not very friendly either. So I would look at the facts on all of this. You know, that would have been my response, and that would have destroyed her. But this is crazy.
Because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike.
Yeah, I can't agree with Kamala on this one. Like Trump is saying here, he literally threatened the guy. He went to meet with the guy, and then he threatened him and said, go ahead, do this, and we'll kill you. Which is, I mean, like a mob boss by Trump. Trump was like a goddamn mob boss.
Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind. We wouldn't have left.
Trump
Campaign is a fight for the future.
And we will make America great again.
What just happened? What the fuck just happened? Why did we just lose everything? Fuck. I think that, fuck, I gotta find it. Where is it?
They get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different. They will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up.
Spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side. Let's remember
this is old.
to again divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security.
How would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe the reason that Donald Trump says that this war would be over within 24 hours is because he would just give it up.
Oh my God. What the fuck? What happened to the ABC News broadcast I had? I thought I had it on ABC.
That makes sense.
Deeper. We try to understand
Who actually brings values and your desires.
Is it over?
And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border.
First, let me respond as to the
Please.
rallies. She said people start leaving. People don't.
Well, he's not in. He's not even in politics, right? He's not the president. I can't kill any bill.
Go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to.
Why doesn't he just say like, what? Like I don't even do that. Like I'm not in government right now. I can't kill any bills.
Be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies.
There she
We have
goes.
The biggest rallies.
There she goes with the stare. Here comes the robot stare that she has on everything. This is the fake stare. This is not real. She's rehearsed how to look like this.
The most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the
Oh, we're way behind. Okay, I got to catch up.
The work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense.
Oh, here we go. Okay, I found out where we are. I'm sorry, I found where we were. We were way off. Okay.
amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen. He's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying, one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. Otherwise, we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed a poignant moment today on Capitol Hill, honoring the soldiers who died in the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan. I do want to ask the Vice President, do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today, there is not one member of the United States military who is in active duty in a combat zone in any war zone around the world, the first time this century. But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, and the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of storied significance for us as Americans, a place where we honor the importance of American diplomacy, where we invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not, again, appreciate the role and responsibility of the President of the United States to be commander-in-chief with a level of...
I had to run upstairs because it smells so bad, guys. Apparently the neighbors have had a bonfire going for like fucking all day long. So my neighbors have had a fire in their backyard. Like, the houses are pretty close together. So I came home and there was fucking shit flying through the air, falling out of the air. And they've got a fucking huge ass fire in the backyard. And I'm looking over like, what the fuck are they doing? And it's been going all day since like this morning, and it's like nighttime now, and they're still out there having beers like by this fucking thing. And it's not like a little pit; it's like a fucking huge ass fucking thing. So Leah goes to get in the car, and I'm like, there's like fucking just soot all over the fucking truck as she got in the car tonight to leave, and I'm like, what the fuck, dude? Like, it's all over everything, all over the yard, and it smells like everything's on fire. The whole house stinks of it. I'm like itching my throat and shit. And I'm like, bro, like I don't know what the fuck they're thinking, but it's crazy. And I feel like somebody else would have called the cops on me if I did this. I tell you what, bro, anybody ever calls the cops on me around here for anything like weird or like, a fire pit or something like that, I'm going to snap like you wouldn't believe. Because, bro, I just don't ever complain about shit. Like, I feel like all these people, I can't believe somebody hasn't complained about this. Like, it's all over everywhere. Like, I'm expecting that it's like, it's just fucking everywhere. Okay. Let's see. Zach McNulty, you've done nothing but kiss Kamala's ass this whole debate. I mean, I don't think so. I think I literally said on this stream, how many times have I said she's a lying cunt? Is that kissing her ass? You're a fucking retarded. I literally said she's a lying fuck. She's lying about everything. All you need to do is look at the state of the country right now. She's a fucking liar. I'm just looking at this debate. What's going on here? Like, her points versus his points. It's kind of crazy what's going on. If you don't see that, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. I'm probably going to vote for Trump. But, like, in this debate, like, sorry, I'm not the one fucking up like Trump is.
Respect. And
Oh, he's talking about you? Oh, well, okay. I thought he was talking to me. I was like, what the fuck did I do? Oh, okay. I think Trump is fucked up here. But at least Zach's fucking saying what he's talking about. That guy Kevin earlier, like, we don't know what the fuck he was talking about. I should fucking run. God damn, the whole house stinks like fucking ash.
And this gets back to the point of how he has consistently disparaged and demeaned members of our military, fallen soldiers, and the work that we must do to uphold the strength and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump, your response to her saying that you began the negotiations with the Taliban.
So, if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't.
I like how she looks at him like he's retarded, even though he knows all this shit. But she's like, make faces at you like you're retarded.
They're doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the
See
head.
these looks? These are the fakest planned looks that she does here. Like, this isn't faking me.
Of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told
but Trump is acting kind of crazy, so like it works for her, I guess. I don't know.
Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out.
See, she's looking away all in disgust and confusion right there. But he didn't say anything yet that's weird like that. So these are just trained looks that she has to react to every... Like, he could say anything here. He could say, like, Abe, 1 + 1 is 2, and she would still make the face of, like, She's just making these faces. Because what he said there wasn't really wrong or crazy or weird. He has said some weird stuff, but that wasn't, and she's just making faces. Because she's planned that whole out.
Abdul, and for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do.
I want to move on.
And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss are.
President Trump, thank you. I want to move on now to race and politics in this country. Mr. President, you recently said of Vice President Harris,
It could be true. Maybe.
quote, I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is. I don't care. You make a big deal out of something. I couldn't care less. Whatever she wants to be is okay with me.
But those were your words. So I'm
I don't
asking,
know. I don't know. I mean, all I can say is I read where she was not black, that she put out.
Oh, no. He's doing it. Oh, no.
And I'll say that. And then I read that she was black, and that's okay. Either one was okay with me. That's up to her. That's up to her.
Vice President Harris, your thoughts on this?
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president who has consistently, over the course of his career, attempted to use race to divide the American people. You know, I do believe that the vast majority of us know that we have so much more in common than what separates us, and we don't want this kind of approach that is just constantly trying to divide us, and especially by race. And let's remember how Donald Trump started. He was he owned land, he owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5. Took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread...
Now she's going back to the past again, like the really old past where she said they wouldn't do that. Like, we need to move forward. But all she does is look back. But it's working for her.
Birther lies about the first black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have...
She literally and her part and her people point the finger at people and even threatened you if you didn't get the COVID shot. It's just, this is all fake, but she's doing a better job. He looks really bad. She's doing an unbelievable job at being being a liar, or being like, not a liar because she's working in truth, but like it's not real, if that makes any sense. Like, she really has done an unbelievable job at being a chameleon here. I did not think she was capable of this because her other debates were atrocious. I am shocked.
Discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people. Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and aspirations and want a president who invests in those, not in hate and division.
Vice President Harris, thank you. Lindsay?
President Trump, this is now your 3rd time.
This is the most divisive presidency in the history of our country. There's never been anything like it. They're destroying our country, and they come up with things like what she just said. Going back many, many years, when a lot of people, including Mayor Bloomberg, agreed with me on the Central Park 5, they admitted, they said, they pled guilty. And I said, well, if they pled guilty, they badly hurt a person, killed a person ultimately. And if they pled guilty...
Oh, my God. This whole debate is him on the defensive, defending himself. Oh my God. No.
Guilty. Then they pled, we're not guilty. But this is a person that has to stretch back years, 40, 50 years ago, because there's nothing now. I built one of the greatest economies in the history of the world.
I might kill myself if Kamala becomes president. Like, this is unbelievable. I really want to. I think I want to die. Like, I think I want to be killed. Have you ever seen an evil person just be able to fool everybody? Like, this is unbelievable.
World, and I'm going to build it again. It's going to be bigger, better, and stronger. But they're destroying our economy. They have no idea what a good economy is. Their oil policies, every single policy. And remember this, she is Biden. You know, she's trying to get away from Biden. I don't know the gentleman, she says. She is Biden. The worst inflation we've ever had, a horrible economy because inflation has made it so bad, and she can't get away with that.
Thank you. Your time's up.
I want to respond to that, though. I want to just respond briefly. Clearly, I am not Joe Biden, and I am certainly not Donald Trump. And what I do offer is a new generation of leadership for our country, one who believes in what is possible, one who brings a sense of optimism about what we can do instead of always disparaging the American people. I believe in what we can do to...
This is so fake, what she's doing, but it's so working.
...strengthen our small businesses, which is why I have a plan. Let's talk about our plans, and let's compare the plans. I have a plan to give startup businesses $50,000 tax deduction, to pursue their ambitions, their innovation, their ideas, their hard work. I have a plan, $6,000 for young families for the first year of your child's life to help you in that most critical stage of your child's development. I have a plan that is about allowing people to be able to pursue what has been fleeting in terms of the American dream by offering a help with down payment of $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers.
I don't believe the things she's saying, but like he is not offering anything right now.
That's the kind of conversation, I believe, David, that people really want tonight, as opposed to a conversation that is constantly about belittling and name-calling. Let's turn the page
Vice President
and move
Harris,
forward.
thank you. Let's turn to policy.
President
Let's turn
Trump, we
to
have to
policy.
move on.
She just called him a racist 2 seconds ago. Let's turn the page. She basically was like, you hate black people.
President Trump.
Let's turn to policy,
She has
please.
a plan to defund the police. She has a plan to confiscate everybody's gun.
President Trump,
she
we
has
do
a
have to
plan
move
to
on to
not
other
allow
issues.
fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere
Oh, my God.
else.
Okay.
That's what her
President.
plan is until just recently.
I just need
Lindsey,
to respond
President
because
Trump,
no, the
President
former
Trump,
president has
no,
said
I'm
something
sorry.
twice that I need to respond to.
I'm sorry. We're
I just
going
need
to
to
move on,
respond
Vice
one
President
time
Harris.
to what he has
President
said
Trump, this is
multiple
now your
Yes.
third time running for president. You have long vowed to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act, also known as Obamacare. You have failed to accomplish that. You now say you're going to keep Obamacare, quote, unless we can do something much better. Last month, you said, quote, we're working on it. So tonight, 9 years after you first started running, do you have a plan, and can you tell us what it is?
Obamacare was lousy health care. Always was. It's not very good today. And what I said, that if we come up with something, and we are working on things, we're going to do it and we're going to replace it. But remember this, I inherited Obamacare because Democrats wouldn't change it. They wouldn't vote for it. They were unanimous. They wouldn't vote to change it. If they would have done that, we would have had a much better plan than Obamacare. But the Democrats came up. They wouldn't vote for it. I had a choice to make when I was president. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, never going to be great, or do I let it rot? And I felt I had an obligation, even though politically it would have been good to just let it rot and let it go away. I decided, and I told my people, the top people, and they're very good people. I have a lot of good people in that administration. We read about the bad ones. We had some real bad ones too, and so do they. They have really bad ones. The difference is they don't get rid of them. But let me just explain. I had a choice to make. Do I save it and make it as good as it can be, or do I let it rot? And I saved it. I did the right thing. But it's still never going to be great, and it's too expensive for people. And what we will do is we're looking at different plans. If we can come up with a plan that's going to cost our people, our population, less money and be better health care than Obamacare, then I would absolutely do it. But until then, I'd run it as good as it can be run.
So just a yes or no, you still do not have a plan.
I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. But if we come up with something, I would only change it if we come up with something that's better and less expensive. And there are concepts and options we have to do that. And you'll be...
He should have been prepared. Kamala Harris just said she's going to give first-time home buyers $25,000. She's going to give a child tax credit of $6,000. And there was something else, too, that I don't remember what it was. I think small businesses. Now they're asking Trump what he would do on health care. And he said Obamacare was bad. And I might have a plan if I was president. But I didn't have one the last time. I just kind of rolled with what we had and didn't really fix it. But I would have something maybe this time that would be amazing. But I don't know what it is. This is so bad. This is so bad. I agree that Trump had a better 4 years than Kamala's last 4 years. Trump is been the better president of Joe Biden and Trump. But in this debate, he's not telling anybody anything other than how bad they are. And I said earlier today that he's going to need to come in with, like, why isn't he doing the thing that he did with when he debated Joe Biden? When Trump debated Joe Biden, he nailed it. And tonight, is he going to answer anything? Is he going to say, like, well, here's my plan for first-time home buyers. Here's my plan for this. Here's my plan for that. I still haven't figured out what we're going to do with grocery stores. Neither one of them, I don't think, has answered the grocery prices. How are they going to tackle the political incentives for price gouging, the corporate greed in price gouging? How are the both of them going to fix that? I don't even know still. They haven't answered that. Like, that pisses me off that neither one of them, unless I missed something and tell me if I have, what are they going to do to lower grocery prices? What are they going to do to lower all the costs of living? And so far, only Kamala has said how she was going to give money or save money to people, which is weird because I know that Trump has done that as the president, and that Kamala and Joe Biden are destroying our country, but she is saying what she will do and he still is not. That's just what's happening.
Be hearing about it in the not too distant future.
Vice President Harris, in 2017, you supported Bernie Sanders' proposal to do away with private insurance and create a government-run healthcare system. 2 years later, you proposed a plan that included a private insurance option. What is your plan today?
Well, first of all, I absolutely support, and over the last 4 years as vice president, private health care options. But what we need to do is maintain and grow the Affordable Care Act. But I'll get to that, Lindsay. I just need to respond to a previous point that the former president has made. I've made very clear my position on fracking. And then this business about taking everyone's guns away. Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away. So stop with the continuous lying about this stuff. As it relates to the Affordable Care Act, understand, just look at the history to know where people stand. When Donald Trump was president, 60 times he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. 60 times. I was a senator at the time. When I will never forget the early morning hours when it was up for a vote in the United States Senate, and the late, great John McCain, who you have disparaged as being, you don't like him, you said, at the time because he got caught. He was an American hero. The late, great John McCain, I will never forget that night, walked onto the Senate floor and said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't get rid of the Affordable Care Act. You have no plan. And what the Affordable Care Act has done is eliminate the ability of insurance companies to deny people with pre-existing conditions. I don't have to tell people watching tonight, you remember what that was like? Remember when an insurance company could deny if a child had asthma, if someone was a breast cancer survivor, if a grandparent had diabetes? And thankfully, as I've been vice president and we over the last 4 years have strengthened the Affordable Care Act,
Trump did lower insulin levels. He should probably bring that up here somehow.
Have allowed for the first time Medicare to negotiate drug prices on behalf of you, the American people. Donald Trump said he was going to allow Medicare to negotiate drug prices. He never did. We did. And now we have capped the cost of insulin at $35 a month. Since I've been vice president, we have capped the cost of prescription medication for seniors at $2,000 a year. And when I am president, we will do that for all people, understanding that the value I bring to this is that access to health care should be a right and not just a privilege of those who can afford it. And the plan has to be to strengthen the Affordable Care Act, not get rid of it.
Vice President Harris,
in terms of where Donald Trump stands on that.
I want to move to an issue that's important for a lot.
You made a mistake. Number one, John McCain fought Obamacare for 10 years. But it wasn't only him. It was all of the Democrats that kept it going. And you know what? We can do much better than Obamacare, much less money. But she won't improve private insurance for people, private medical insurance. That's another thing she doesn't want to get. People are paying privately for insurance that have worked hard and made money, and they want to have private. She wants everybody to be on government insurance where you wait 6 months for an operation that you need immediately.
President Trump, thank you. We have another issue that we'd like to get to that's important for a number of Americans, in particular younger voters, and that's climate change. President Trump, with regard to the environment, you say that we have to have clean air and clean water. Vice President Harris, you call climate change an existential threat. The question to you both tonight is, what would you do to fight climate change?
This is unbelievable.
And Vice President Harris, we'll start with you. 1 minute for you each.
Well, the former president had said that climate change is a hoax. And what we know is that it is very real. You ask
now they love McCain now that he's dead.
anyone who lives in a state who has experienced these extreme weather occurrences, who now is either being denied home insurance or it's being jacked up. You ask anybody who has been the victim of what that means in terms of losing their home, having nowhere to go. We know that we can actually deal with this issue. The young people of America care deeply about this issue. And I am proud that as vice president over the last 4 years, we have invested $1 trillion in a clean energy economy, while we have also increased domestic gas production to historic levels. We have created over 800,000 new manufacturing jobs while I have been vice president. We have invested in clean energy to the point that we are opening up factories around the world. Donald Trump said he was going to create manufacturing jobs. He lost manufacturing jobs. And I'm also proud to have the endorsement of the United Auto Workers and Sean Fain, who also know that part of building a clean energy economy includes investing in American-made products, American automobiles. It includes growing what we can do around American manufacturing and opening up auto plants, not closing them like happened under Donald Trump.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
It didn't happen under Donald Trump. Let me just tell you, they lost 10,000 manufacturing jobs this last month. It's going, they're all leaving. They're building big auto plants in Mexico, in many cases owned by China. They're building these massive plants, and they think they're going to sell their cars into the United States because of these people. What they have given to China is unbelievable. But we're not going to let that. We'll put tariffs on those cars so they can't come into our country, because they will kill the United Auto Workers and any auto worker, whether it's in Detroit or South Carolina or any other place. What they've done to business and manufacturing in this country is horrible. We have nothing because they refuse. You know, Biden doesn't go after people because supposedly China paid him millions of dollars. He's afraid to do it. Between him and his son, they get all this money from Ukraine. They get all this money from all of these different countries. And then you wonder, why is he so loyal to this one, that one, Ukraine, China? Why is he? Why did he get $3.5 million from the mayor of Moscow's wife? Why did she pay him $3.5 million? This is a crooked administration, and they're selling our country down the tubes.
President Trump, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm giving Trump a point for that. That was huge. The automakers, the manufacturing, all out the window. That was his first time in a long time in this debate that he slam dunked something. And see, she can't say anything. All she can do is sit there and shake her head. Do you know when Kamala loses is because she sits and shakes her head and just goes, she has nothing to say because there's nothing to defend. It's weird. When Trump is wrong, he actually speaks more. So when Trump is called out for being wrong on something potentially, he actually speaks more in reaction to it. When Kamala is not on the right side of things, she's actually quiet. It's weird. Not always, but many times. Many times. I'll give Trump a point for the auto stuff. They have raped our auto industry, and he is good with the tariffs. However, it does cost us in another way. So there's a portion of Trump's solution that needs to be fixed or refined because it's going to cost us on this other end. But overall, Joe Biden's state registers everyone taxes, and it's all a scam. He becomes friends with all the billionaires because all those people have to register their company in Delaware. That's why Biden knows so many powerful people and people all over the place, because all the companies are forced to register in Delaware, where Joe Biden actually helps people cheat out of taxes. And that's funny because Joe Biden always said, everyone's going to pay their fair share. But again, the problem with this is that it's focused too much on Biden and Trump, which I think everybody agrees that Trump is better than Biden. But now the problem is people are center of the road people are wondering, is Trump better than Kamala, even though she is the VP. So he's winning this part, but it's like more of a Biden thing. So I don't know. I could probably give Kamala another point for the last 30 minutes of what she's done, but
Right back with closing statements from both of our candidates. An historic night, this ABC News presidential debate from Philadelphia. Back in
this has been a travesty for Trump. I know she's a liar, but this does not look good.
President Harris, we begin with you.
So I think you've heard tonight two very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us, and we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together. That is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Vice President Harris, thank you. President Trump?
So she just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack, we're not going to take fossil fuel, we're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they laugh. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.
President Trump, thank you. And that is our ABC News presidential debate from here in Philadelphia at the National Constitution Center. I'm Lindsay Davis.
And I'm David Muir. Thank you for watching here in the U.S. and all over the world. And from
Well, wow. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow.
Come on out, you rapist!
I almost want to give Trump a point at the end because he said, why hasn't she done it? That was the biggest, probably, bam. That was the biggest slam dunk for Trump at the end when he just said, that was probably one of his best moments of the whole night was him at the end. Joe Pesci became a member. What up, Joe Pesci? What's up, dude? I almost want to give Trump a point for that. Because at the very end he said, well, why hasn't she done any of this stuff? That was a pretty good shot. We're fucked. I'll give Trump a point for that because that was like a boom, like a fucking bam moment. I'll give Trump a point for that. I don't really think Trump won this debate though. But I think that statement at the end kind of does help it. But then, you can say she's the vice president, not the president. I get that. I really feel like I've missed a point for Kamala because I don't know what I just saw. And so I feel like I could have given Kamala a point earlier when she was, my God, bro. I got to give her a 5 because I want to give her 5, man. I can't say that this is a tie. I got to give her 5 for earlier. I can't say that Trump won that debate. I mean, he didn't. I'm sorry, he did not win that debate. Like I can't. I don't believe he won that debate. I'm gonna put up a poll. I just don't believe. I don't believe he won that debate. That ending was good, but it doesn't help everything else that happened before that. All right. Absolutely. I think I did. I think I missed a lot of. I could probably give points. So in my head, I started like giving one here and then the other one there, and then just calling it even and not giving a point to anybody. But yeah, I can't. I've got to say that as a debate, she won that debate. What was the Joe Biden score? What was Joe Biden versus Trump? Because Biden got destroyed, got really destroyed. He was dead. How many points did I give Biden? Let's go back and see that. I'm trying to find the let me see if I can find the score. I would love to find the score. What was my score of that debate? Some people really hated me too for that. People were shitting on me for that debate, and I crapped on Biden and said Trump won. And people crapped on me for that. Imagine what they'll think about this one. Let's take a look. Wow. 3,000 views. It would be like, at least it would be Trump, like, you know, Trump 40%, Biden 20%. But, you know, you did really good.
Join the
Goes on for like 30 minutes. Yep, here it is. The last debate was Trump 12, Joe Biden 4. I scored 4 points for Joe Biden, who lost to Trump 12-4. I gave Trump a 12-4 victory over Biden. And in this debate tonight, I'm giving Kamala, and I hate her, a 5-4 victory over Trump. And honestly, I might have missed a point. Kamala might have had 6, but she's sort of like wishy-washy, word saladed, like lies. So because of her like lying chameleonness, like I didn't fully believe, like I didn't like it, so I didn't give it to her. Do you know what I mean? But overall, she got him to then say nothing but bad. So then he didn't get a point almost because he was like enraged or something. So, yeah, wow, that is super interesting. Trump, I gave 12 points to Biden's 4 the last time. And I'm giving Trump as many points as Biden got in the last one. I just didn't, I don't know. Either way. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. Whew. I mean, I could have given her maybe another one, maybe 2 more. I don't know, but wow, I think I was frozen. I don't care what Taylor Swift says because she's an idiot rich person who like basically Taylor Swift doesn't care if the country's destroyed because Taylor Swift is rich, so she doesn't even understand people's struggles. You know what I mean? Taylor Swift fucking literally doesn't relate to any of us. Really, almost at all. You know? She's a fucking rich, insane person who's probably satanic.
Come on out, you rapist!
The Villain, 57 months in a row. What's up, Villain? How you doing? Let's make her the new Patriots QB, yeah. I mean, remember, this poll is not supposed to be who are you going to vote for. The poll is not who are you voting for. The poll is who won the debate.
Kamala gets my vote.
The Dork Knight. Kamala gets my vote. Okay. Why isn't it popping up? Wow, the Dork Knight is voting for Kamala. Now, that's crazy. But, you know, based on his taste in women, you know, I don't know if we can really trust what the Dork Knight thinks, but, you know, he looks like another psycho whore, Dork Knight. Haystacks Monet gifted a sub to somebody who will get it. Oh, Star Sale got it. Nice. That's fire, bro. Yeah, this isn't about who you'd vote for. This is about who won the debate. This is the lowest showing for Trump that I've seen on my channel in a while. A lot of times Trump seems to get 80%.
Come on out, you rapist!
So, Star Sale, there you go. Congrats, man. Crazy. Boom. 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 So, who won the debate? We're voting on who won the debate. Whew. That was rough. He's drunk, probably. Yeah, that would be drunk dork night is going to go vote for Kamala Harris. I voted on who gave the truthful answers. I knew ABC would fact check the hell out of Trump and protect Harris. I think what they did was way more intricate than that, Mike. I think what ABC did was way more intricate than that. It was actually more like thought out. They would let Kamala Harris like answer a question and give her like, I was a child and then I did this and here's what happened. And then she would throw shade to Trump. It was like a 1, 2, 3, 4 punch. And then Trump, instead of answering a question, would be on the defensive and would then get defensive about that thing. Then he would sort of answer it, but not well because he was too flustered with defending what she said about him. And then MSNBC or whatever, the news people, ABC, the moderators, then they would ask Trump about a critical situation that he's had in the past. So it's way more sinister than what you're saying, Mike, New York Rangers for life. It's way more sinister than what you're saying. You're saying that like she lied about everything and they protected Harris. But it's like it's so much more intricate than that. Like it's so much worse than that. Like what they did was masterful. Let me show you what they did. This is fucking unbelievable. So this is Trump. And this is Kamala Harris. For some reason, she's fatter. I don't know why. They would ask her question about how she would do something. She then delivers policy, delivers her reason for the policy and how it like how she's done so in the past or whatever you want to call it. Then she makes disparaging claim against Trump about something he's done. And it makes a sad face, as you can see. Then Trump would then respond to her with anger on the defensive. Sometimes he would make a good point about how she's lying, so I'll give him a green line in the middle there. And then he would sort of answer the question, but not really that well, because he was heated from his like defensiveness about what happened. So sometimes he would not answer the question, and then sometimes he would answer the question. So that would then make Trump's answer come out like sort of like cold. Like if he did answer, then his answer came out like cold. Like that. And then the moderator would then ask Trump a defensive question. Or the moderator. Where's the moderator? We got to draw the moderator. The moderator's here. The moderators are here. So there's their first question. It all started with a neutral question to Kamala. This was the whole fucking debate, by the way. Neutral question to Kamala. And now they would ask Trump a critical question. So the next phase would be to ask Trump, what about January 6th? What about you? She's black sometimes and sometimes she's that. What about you said people are eating people or whatever they did to him? So now they would ask him a hot question, and that would then again put him on the defensive. So this is fucking way more brilliant and dastardly than you understand. It's not just what you said. It's way crazier than that. Like, this is fucking should be studied. So then they asked him this red question over here, and now he's on the defensive. So now he's going to say, she did this, they did that, and it comes off like defensive, all of it. Even if he's saying something that's true, he's on the defensive. And at no point, as you can see by this fucking diagram, this doesn't mean that I think that Kamala is way better or good or better or I'm going to vote Kamala. No, it doesn't. But this is what was done. Like, this is crazy. Step 1, ask Kamala softball. Step 2, Kamala answers with a plan or something. Step 3, she compares it to like childhood or whatever and how she loves everyone and she's presidential. Step 4, she puts something on him, whether it's true, false, fake, questionable, whatever. She puts it onto Trump. Step 5, he's now going to defend himself and then gets angry and blah, blah, blah. Step 6, his answer either doesn't happen or is convoluted or he's all over the place. Step 7, now the moderators ask Trump a critical question. Step 8, he has to respond defensively to that and goes all over the place, and maybe he answers it, maybe he doesn't. And by step 9, it's over, and then rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat. And when they ask, there is one other version of this when they ask Kamala a critical question. Now, what you could do is go back and figure out how many critical questions did they ask Kamala versus how many critical questions did they ask Trump. But when they asked Kamala these critical questions, she was kind of ready for it and answered it. And then at the end, she spun it back to Trump. Whereas Trump would start with attacking them and then maybe get into the answer. And so it was all over the place. So he did it to himself in a lot of ways, but it was also set up for him to lose. So that is what happened. That is what happened. Kamala lied about so much. She wishy-washed so much. But this is what they did. Somebody will have to fact check all this, but what I liked about the other debate with Trump and Biden was I didn't really need to fact check it when it was over. When it was over, I knew the things that Trump stretched the truth about, and I knew the things that they lied about Trump about. Like Joe Biden lied about Trump like 7 to 8 major things were lies. They were like crazy lies. Now, tonight, Kamala repeated about 3 of those straight up lies, which is weird that she would still repeat them tonight. But her repeating of it was way more effective for some reason than Joe Biden. When Joe Biden said it, you're like, that's not true. And then Trump killed it and proved it pretty much. And he destroyed it. And it was like, wow. Even if you didn't know if that was true or not, you can kind of believe that I think I believe Trump that Joe Biden just lied about him. But when Kamala Harris tonight lied about it, you're almost like, maybe that did happen. That's crazy that she was that convincing to like moderate people probably. So, I don't know. This was crazy. This was crazy to me. But I don't know. This was crazy. I was shocked. I mean, listen, I've told you why I'm shocked a million different ways. The biggest reason I'm shocked is because I've seen her debate before, and it's not good. It was not good. Like, you had no reason to think she would be good tonight. She was awful in her previous debates. She really was. She was not good. One of her previous debates with Tulsi Gabbard, I will never forget it, her lying about Tulsi Gabbard. She lied about Tulsi Gabbard, and then Tulsi Gabbard dissected how she lied and then brought up her past. It was crazy. Like, I don't think that I think Trump underestimated her. I really think that must be what happened tonight. I think he underestimated her because he didn't have a playbook of how to dismantle her. He should have been able to dismantle her in many ways. Even with the sort of, setup that they had, even with this sort of rigged setup that they attacked with tonight in a very brilliant little nasty way that they did this debate. She usually sucks at debating. And someone said she was in debate class, and I almost laughed at that. I heard them say before they started tonight, someone said that she was in debate class, and I laughed at that. I actually laughed. I said, she was in debate class? No fucking way she was. Oh my God, bro. I've seen her debate. It's fucking terrible. So, I am blown away. I am blown away, dude. Crazy. Jesus. She was drunk. Imagine if she was drunk. She didn't cackle at all tonight. No cackle, I don't think. There was no cackling. There was nothing like that. I do think Trump was up against it, but it didn't look good for him. It's very strange. Haskell, Trump messed up his own nonsense on abortion. Trump did not do a good job of explaining. I don't even think Trump should have gotten into the comments on the abortion thing. Trump should have simply said only this. Guys, if I was Trump, I would have won this moment. I would have said, listen, there may be things that people do that I don't agree with and I agree with, and that you don't agree with and that you agree with. But we're going to leave it up to the people, and ultimately it's in the people's hands. It's in the state's hands. And, we're going to leave it up to them. But then when Kamala painted a picture of how terrible it can be for those states, those 20 states that don't allow you to do these things when you're having, these, whether it's incest or rape or something like that. Like, that was rough, but Trump was unable to paint a picture of dead babies. He was unable to paint a picture of what it's like to end life and to end babies. And then to say that, I don't support, I support abortion to a certain degree and area and rape and all that stuff, and I support it in that case. But, we leave it up to the states. And right now, the some extreme states, think it's okay to kill babies. Other extreme states think it's okay to force someone to have a baby or whatever. Like, there was all these different things. And they just couldn't. He was unable to convey that part. She was painting a picture where he really wasn't. It was weird. Fucking crazy. Anyway, I guess I'm going to get out of here. And then they talked about fracking a ton. Like, who gives a shit? The bottom line is she was against fracking. Now she's not. And they kept bringing up fracking, and I don't care anymore. I know she's a flip-flopper, but once she says, I will not ban fracking, I'm done with that, I know I made a mistake, I just accept it. I go, okay, all right, she changed her mind, and she seems to have proven that, so whatever. Okay, she says she changed her mind, what am I going to do? Just like Trump changed his mind on something, and he said, I will not do this. Or when Trump said, I won't ban a national abortion. Okay, I believe him. He said he won't do national abortion. He said what he believes, that he believes, in abortion to 12 weeks or 15 weeks or whatever it is. And I won't do a national abortion ban. I believe Trump. So I believe Kamala. I believe Trump. But they kept bringing up fracking, and I was like, I don't care, because I already know that Trump is the better one for fracking. I get that. I already know that. So wasting time on the fracking thing was stupid, because I already know that Trump has done it, and I know that she's changed her mind. That I don't need to know anything else. That's fine. I agree. Trump is the better one for fracking. Whatever. I don't care at this point. I already know that, I think I believe her. I think she won't do the fracking, or that she'll frack. Maybe. But at the same time, I know Donald Trump has done it, so I believe him more. But we don't need to keep saying fracking, because it's not the most important thing. Most Americans don't. I mean, like, we do care about our oil supply and that sort of thing, and that's money, and that drives the economy and stuff like that. But like that did not. Where was the talk about the groceries and the everyday items and that shit? And like I said, we just never got there on a lot of those things. That blew my mind. That blew my mind. Crazy. I don't know. Oh boy. Dude, I can barely breathe right now, and I wonder if it's from the neighbor's fire. The fucking neighbors have had a fucking bonfire going all day long. And when I went outside earlier and looked, it's still orangey ashy. And like, I'm having so many breathing problems right now. And apparently my son did today, which my wife didn't tell me until just now. She was like, oh, we got to do something or talk to them tomorrow. And there's ashes all over our car and our driveway and all over the neighborhood everywhere. This is a fucking huge bonfire that they had going from like 9 a.m. till now. Like, I'm like, holy fuck, it smells like burning shit, like, everywhere. Like, oh my God. So many things. Bro, you could study this. Like, you didn't really need to study the debate with Trump and Biden that much, because Trump just shit on Biden. Trump took a shit on Biden. But tonight, man, Trump was on the defensive all night in some kind of, like, just rope-a-dope or something. Like, it was crazy. This is what happened visually. This is literally what happened tonight. I just can't believe it. It was like, there is no chance in hell that Kamala is going to debate him again. I would never debate again after that. I would say, I made myself clear. That's it. He repeated all that stuff he always repeats. I made myself clear. I'll see you at the polls. There is not a chance in hell I would want to debate again if I was Kamala. There was no agreement to do it. And if I was Trump, I would, well, depending on how he feels, I would either want to debate again really badly, or I would not want to and hope people don't remember this. So that's not good for him. It smells like KANE outside. God damn. Yeah, Trump needed to talk about the violence. He needed to talk about the unrest, the homelessness, the fact that they're trying to give immigrants all these things and not giving people stuff. How is he going to do it? Instead, it was all about just bullshit. This was a fucked up debate, and if you don't know that, I don't know what to tell you. Trump got baited. That's right, Dreamers Lane. Like, Trump got baited tonight. He took the bait, and he got beaten up. Now, I agree that the ABC helped Kamala Harris. But listen, guys, this is one of those times where this is like in a sports game where the referees are for the other team, clearly. The referees are fucking your team, but your team also is sucking ass. And so you just basically like, well, I can't just blame the referees. We're not doing any favors. And the next day you say, yeah, the referees sucked, but we didn't win. We wouldn't have won anyway. And that's I believe that's what happened tonight. And I'm being honest with you, telling my honest opinion. I think clearly most of the time the moderators were on her side in a weird way because they were very sneaky with how they did this. I painted the picture for you. Go watch my drawing of this. That's what happened for the most part. But when Trump was given opportunities to fix it or to get out of it or to do whatever, he just went further into it. It was crazy. He didn't do himself any favor. And we're just talking about, as a debate. I'm not saying that you're not going to vote for Trump now because nothing will trump the last 4 years of fact of what happened, of what Kamala says but does. But as a debate tonight, that's what happened. I wouldn't know, Haskell, because I don't remember a debate on Fox. Trump has had 2 debates, and neither one of them have been on Fox. So, I don't think so. I mean, you can say what if and whatever about whatever other news station, but fact of the matter is there's a whole bunch of media outlets that are for Kamala Harris. There's only one that's somewhat for Trump. So you can say what you want about Fox, but sorry. I guess the right wing people are allowed to at least have one news outlet, right? Can the right wing people have one news outlet? Since ABC, MSNBC, CNN, and so on are all for the Democrat liberals, because the news media is in the back pocket of the deep state. How can you not understand that? So I don't know why you're mad at Fox, because there's actually one news station that's like not against Trump. Like, I don't get it. Like, you're against the underdog. Trump has one news site on his side. Kamala has like 7 on hers. But I guess fuck him and Fox News, I guess. I don't know. But I don't agree with any of the news outlets because they're all biased. That's why I don't like them. But they're all biased. So if you only want to attack the one where there's only one, that's kind of weird. That's like saying, hey, you know what? There's a 5-on-1 fight going on, but I'm going to attack the one guy. It's kind of weird, but I don't know. Kind of strange. Newsmax is new, Haskell. Newsmax is new. I don't remember Newsmax being around for this long. Newsmax is an independent media, aren't they? That's like me saying the Young Turks. Okay, then the Young Turks. What are you going to say next? InfoWars? Do you know what I mean? Like, we're talking about the national media on actual cable, like real news stations. ABC, left wing. NBC, left wing. CBS, they're mostly left wing, but they do have a little bit of a calmer side sometimes. CNN, left wing. MSNBC, really left wing. Fox News, right wing. Then what's next? Would you Newsmax? What the fuck? I'm just saying. You know. But anyway, that's my opinion. What did you guys think? I'll see you guys tomorrow in the afternoon, potentially. Have a good night. I hope you guys enjoyed being here watching my reactions, I guess. I don't know. I might have done more, but I don't know what to tell you. I think that this was we'll be talking about this some more. I got to look into it more and study it more and things like that. I'm sure there's some things that I've left out or forgot or messed up on or missed, and I'll look into it all later and we'll figure it out. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. The last time Trump won big. This time he lost, in my opinion. But all that being said, who are you guys going to vote for? And will you still vote for one or the other? Did this debate change your mind on anybody? Let's put out a poll real quickly before we go. Did the debate change your mind? Yes or no? Are you going to vote for the same person or change your mind based on this debate? Feel free to quickly vote as quickly as possible, and I will get out of here. Good night, everybody. Either way, I hope you guys, everybody gets along, and you guys all have a fun little fight debate in the chat. But in the end, we don't hate each other because we disagree or agree or whatever. And everybody's got their opinions, and I think it's fun to have different opinions, and different opinions are what eventually, hopefully, keeps us all honest and makes us all have better versions of our real opinions. Because some of the things I say or believe, I might change a little bit because eventually I realize what you're saying might be true and maybe I'm a little wrong about something. And then we all sort of adjust and then even if we're all differently wrong or right, we might get a little more right about what we're saying, or we have a little bit more truth in what we're saying because we all were able to sort of hear each other's opinions, thoughts, and think about things rather than hide from each other in our left and rights and whatever bullshit, because that's just stupid. And you'll never become better if you can't filter some of your shit out. You know what I mean? But everybody's got to be open-minded to adjust a little bit. But maybe not too. Maybe nothing's changed for you. But yeah, 92% say the debate did not change your mind whatsoever. So far, 8% have said that this debate did change your mind in some way. Now we don't know which way your mind changed, but I'm assuming that it's more than 50% might have swung Kamala's way. If it's 7% of you said your mind changed, that 7% could half or more than half of it could be swinging the other way. So that's not good for Trump if that's the case. But, we'll see. Then we'll see how the rest of the year plays out. But, yeah. Very interesting debate. I mean, I am shocked at, you know what I mean, how that debate went. And what ABC did and Kamala Harris did to Trump was, wow. It was almost sinister what they did as far as ask a question, answer it, then back it up with life experience, and then put it on Trump, and then blame Trump for something, and then finish your answer, putting Trump on the defensive every time. and then asking Trump a divisive, critical question about his past. It was masterful. Now, they did ask Kamala some critical things about her current stuff, but then she was able to deliver, answer, criticize Trump to finish answer, put on him. He's angry. He goes on defensive. It was whacked out how they did this. That this should be studied. It's actually kind of simple in a way, but it was like kind of subliminal how it happened. Like you wouldn't really fully understand how they were able to do it if you weren't really paying attention to it. Wild. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Thanks for being here, and good night. We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thanks so much. Love you all. Stay safe. And yeah, Kamala did have a bit of word salad tonight, too. And listen, if you disagree with me on some of this and you have examples or whatever, feel free to tweet me your shit at at Meta World Online. It's my Twitter, Joe Cronin Show, whatever. You can email me, you can tweet me, you can Patreon if you're a patron. Patreon message me. Make me a video on Twitter if you want, or on YouTube and send it to me. Anything that, if you've been sitting there tonight mad at me, or you think something's not right or whatever, or I got something wrong, or don't you see Joe or whatever, like feel free to make a little 5-minute video or whatever you want. Send it to me, whatever. I'll react to them tomorrow maybe, and we can go over it. I would love to hear it, for sure. I mean, if you just call me an idiot, that's not going to work. But if you, feel free to tell me. See you tomorrow.